What I'm going to be using for this experiment is I'm going to be using these. These are test strips. Okay, what you might do is you might put your possibly a blood test in here, or a pee test, or a pregnancy test, or whatever, and it'll show you in the window here. Alright, well, now I went to this place called Reverse Garbage, and they basically said fill a bag, so I filled a bag. And that was pretty cheap. Filling the bag was like $10 compared to anything else, so that was pretty good. So basically what we do is I have heaps and heaps of these. Just put them in here, then we'll put it in the oven, then we'll put more in. My ideal thing is, what I'm going to do is get up to around the top here. Once I get up to the top there, then that should be enough, so I can then put this in, then start to press down. That's my plan. Taking a bit of plastic out of the oven. Anyway, what we need to do is you need to push it down some. I know you're saying that's what the block's for, but the way it is, the block's a little bit tight going in. So what I really probably need to do is I need to turn up another block that's smaller, so I can just push it in and push the plastic in down further. I know. So the idea now is to put as many as we can fit in. By the way, this isn't polystyrene. These are most likely polypropylene, I think. Because when you bend them, they don't break. Except for that time. But most times they don't break. So I think you'll find it's polypropylene. Right now, put it back in the oven, and we'll continue. This is one of many times that I've taken it out of the oven, so I can push it down and put more plastic in. Just make sure when you put the plastic in, make sure it's clean, otherwise you're just going to get crap in your plastic, which you don't want. Just watch your fingers when you're cutting things. Don't want to cut your fingers in half or fingers off. This is quite hot too, so you need your special gloves. Don't have your special gloves and you're going to burn your hands, fingers, so you need all those in life. So what I'm aiming for is pretty much a full container. As you can see, the container's on a bit of a lean because I dropped it earlier and it's dented. So, but that won't affect us. I know. Okay, I've taken the our little plastic mold out of the oven, and all I have to do now is press it down in the mold, and here we go. Here we go, I've just taken it out of the oven. Just putting our block in place. Right. Damn. Just not enough room. I should have measured it beforehand, eh? We'll try the G-clamp. G-clamp should hopefully work. I should have. Well, the whole idea was to put it in the press, but if I can use the G-clamp, maybe next one, organise it a bit better, not fill it up as much. Because that's... So what we're doing here is pushing the bottom of the tin. Ideally I wanted to put it on the stand and push it, but so I've maxed out with the travel, so that was a bit, almost a bit pointless. The only thing I can do is start again, possibly get the clamp over the other side, see if we can push it from that side possibly, or turn it around. We should put it back in the oven. It's getting quite hard. I'll put it back in the oven and have another go. I think we were on a bit of a losing streak there. Once the tin was actually dented, then well, now the whole thing's kilted over to the left. Anyway, hopefully that might be able to press it down some, so might be able to use that. Okay, note for future. To make sure we have room, got to at least leave a bit down there so we can at least put it into the actual tin. What else? Or we take the press out, we take the jack out, and we actually use, or flip it upside down and actually use over here or something like that, so we have that room. Oh, it's a bit annoying. I wanted to press it even harder than that. Almost looks like we haven't even pressed it. Right, there you go. We'll just have to see how it turns out. Right, but as you can see, it is actually buckled quite a bit. Okay, maybe possibly future lessons. Maybe I need to make a collar to go around, a ring to go around the tin, so when you press it, it won't buckle. But then again, I think it will buckle underneath the pressure. Ideally, the bit of timber was meant to go underneath the tin, so when you press it from the bottom, or when you press it through here, it wouldn't actually collapse like it did. The reason why it collapsed is because the G-clamp was pressing from underneath at an odd angle. That way, when you're pressing it, it actually didn't quite come up right, and it kilted over and started to bend. Anyway, hopefully that was enough to actually give us a good solid give us a good solid bit of plastic. But yeah, I'm not sure I like my chances of that one, but I know. The next one I'll do is I'll at least leave a bit more of a gap, so then I can actually put it underneath the press and press it. So I don't know. We'll just see what happens. Yeah. Hey YouTube. Mr. Beans had another screw up again. Alright. Okay, my issue is, since my push piece here was pretty close to size, so when you pushed it in, it just slid in. Alright, so what's happened is, when I've tried to push it in, it's gone cockeyed, and it just basically made the whole thing cockeyed. Alright, so it hasn't quite worked. The whole idea was to push on the actual material, not push on the sides. Okay, so what's happening is, it was pushing on the side, so it screwed it. So if you actually push on the actual plastic itself, ideally it should have forces going like outwards that way, so it shouldn't actually collapse. So what it in theory should do, if you get it right, the seam should actually burst from the inside out. But we don't want to actually burst the container, but that's the idea. And what's been happening is, since we've been pushing it from above, if you don't get it right, or if there's not enough clearance between our pusher and the tin, we're gonna jam, right? So what I have to do is I have to make this this pusher a bit smaller, so it will actually go into the tin. Right, the other one. Okay, this was the first attempt. Okay, this one actually screwed up. It was partly my fault. Well, actually, it was all my fault, really. Because when I had the push rod on top of here, I just didn't have enough room in the press. So what I try and do is I try to put a G clamp on here, and when I pressed it, it just basically collapsed the bottom. Alright, so that was a bit of a fail. So anyway, yeah, so then the next attempt I had, I didn't fill it up as much, so then I'd have room in the underneath the press, so to put this under. But anyway, so we still didn't have quite enough room. So what it looks like is I may have to skim this one down, probably maybe a millimetre or half a millimetre possibly. Maybe we might go a millimetre, then we'll try that, because not all tins are exactly the same. So if we turn it down a millimetre, that should give us clearance. Bit of slop in there, so it should be alright. Then we can try that. Okay. Attempt 1. attempt 2. Both failed. But we won't stop there. We'll try again. Can't do it tomorrow. Saturday we'll have another go at this. We'll turn this down. Yeah. Right, so